Hey guys, how you doing out there in YouTube world? Welcome to the shed. So this is one half of a Hughes & Kettner Polar 10 sound system. It's 1,000 watts per side, so you have two of these. You're running 2,000 watts. The last few gigs, my three-piece band and I have been using this system, and we have gotten a ton of compliments on how good the sound is and how full it sounds. So these things are pretty amazing. So basically it's a huge powered sub, which also connects these tops with a built-in crossover, and it has a ton of adjustability at the back. All right, you can go into the menu here and you can set how many decibels you want for your highs, your mids, your lows, the frequencies for each one of those. You can save these presets, line out. You can connect this to Bluetooth. It just does a ton of stuff. So the system is very simple. It just kind of interconnects. So there's like a series of 4 metal pins with basically just 4 metal pins at the bottom with basically just in the center. It looks like a guitar jack plug-in. So this connects to that jack, and in this center section of the speaker, the bottom section, there's nothing. It's just an elevation tube, I guess, to get the tops at the top, right? So that when people are standing up, you get all the frequencies at the proper location. And if people were sitting down and you were using this on a stage, you simply just remove this centerpiece, and that, you would just drop the top piece where the drivers are. You would just drop it in the top of the sub and you're good to go. So this system is really good. Very impressive. There's 6 drivers in the top, a tweeter in the middle, and that's pretty much it. So 3 drivers, a tweeter, and 3 drivers. So that's kind of how those tops are used. And I'm not sure what's in the bottom end. I'm assuming it's just a 12-inch driver, or maybe a couple of 10-inch drivers, maybe, because it's called the Polar 10. Maybe there's a clue. But anyway, on Saturday, we had an issue with, on one of these columns, the tweeter just stopped working. There was nothing. There were no highs coming out of it. So we had to just go in, take a small little powered speaker and kind of put it up on a stand next to our column just to get the highs coming out. But all the other frequencies were fine. So we got through the night. And then, so I thought I'd go online and have a look and see how these are put together and maybe try and order another tweeter. And there was nothing. Like, I couldn't find anything online. So I thought, well, you know what? I guess I'll do a video and share it. So I took one of these apart, and as you can see, it's on the bench. And I'll just run through this with you. When you look at this system, there's like no screws in the front. There are no visible clips on this. Like, you can't just pull this off, like the screw, to access the speakers. And in the back, there's no visible screws either. But as you can see, there's a bunch of little rubber plugs here. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 plugs. So here's how this thing is put together. You have to pull these plugs out. Oh, sorry, that's the back. So let me get this. I'm going to set this on a stand and I'll come back to you. All right. So the first thing you got to do when you want to take one of these apart is you got to pull these little plugs out. All right, so these plugs, there's 12 of them, and they're hiding the screws. And this tool, a little tool like this, works great. You just put it in the hole of the plug, and it'll pop right out. And they're fairly deep plugs, so it's nice. It's well built. So once you get all the screws out, this back panel comes off. And you will find the inside of this column. So you got 3 drivers, you got the tweeter, which I'll show you in a second, and you got 3 more drivers. So these are running on separate wires. So you have the red and the black. Make sure you can see that. The red and the black wire are powering the drivers, and then the yellow and blue are the ones connected to the tweeter. So they each have separate capacitors, etc., etc. So I thought maybe the capacitor was bad on this. But I ran a little test, and it's reading, you know, when you test the capacitor, the numbers are all jumbled up. You know, they go from whatever to infinity. So you can't really get a good reading on a capacitor, not with just a regular multimeter anyway. So the capacitor is fine, and I did a test on the tweeter, and there's nothing, absolutely no resistance. And I did a battery test to see if I could get it to click, and there's nothing. So the tweeter's gone. I don't know what caused it, but anyway. So once you access the back, you still can't take anything apart because everything is screwed in. And you can't see this, but you can see the end of the screws here, like around each driver. And so everything is screwed in from the front. So the grill, this grill has to come off for you to access the speakers and the tweeter. And again, it's a little tricky, but if you can you see, you'll see these tabs, these little L-shaped tabs on the grill. So the grill is inserted, you know, from the front. And you'll notice, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but you'll notice these, there's some little slits all the way up the column. And so these tabs line up in these slits, all right? And the speaker is pushed through. And once you have it through, you simply, on the back side of this, right, on the back side of the column, you will see the tabs poking through the slits on the back side of the column. And all that's holding this together is these top tabs are just bent in. So to take this apart, you have to unbend all these tabs, get them nice and straight, and then you got to take a really, you know, flat screwdriver. I would recommend putting like a rag over the bit so you don't scratch anything, and you just got to pry this apart until you can take it off, and it'll slide right off. So that's how that works. And then you finally have access to your speakers, to the screws, and then you can take these off and pop them out as you wish. So here is the driver, or the tweeter of the Polar 10. So this is it. This little tiny thing is the tweeter. Now this is a 1,000 watt per side system, and this is only, I don't know if this will show up on the camera, but this is only a 10 watt 8 ohm tweeter. So, and it's bolted to the housing, right? Like so. And then so it looks like this when it's all together. So I called my local Long and McQuaid, and they're going to try and hunt down a replacement tweeter for these. I can't find anything online. There's nothing on the Hughes and Kettner site as far as parts go. I emailed Hughes and Kettner yesterday, which would have been Sunday, and I haven't gotten a reply yet. So hopefully I can find one of these, because we have a gig on Saturday and we want to use this again. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm trying to figure out how to, you know, replace this. Now I looked on Amazon. I can get some tweeters that look like this. The problem is on Amazon, the replacement or aftermarket tweeters, I can get one that's 8 ohms, 10 watts, just, you know, same power consumption as this. Problem is they're not built this way. So they come in one, they look like this, but they come in one piece. But from the measurements I got online, the mounting holes on the Amazon ones are not as spaced out. So which means they're not going to fit in this housing at the back. And of course, these holes are wider one way than another. So this has to go in like this to fit. Like it won't fit this way, right? There's a big gap there. It only fits one way. So I almost need to reuse this top cover if I replace the speaker with anything aftermarket, which means that whatever I get aftermarket needs to kind of look like this, or I need to hack it up so that I can mount the actual tweeter to the enclosure so that I can mount it in the speaker enclosure. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. But anyway, I thought I'd share this with you guys in case some of you out there may have this system. You might be looking to mod it, upgrade it, or whatever, or I don't know, or maybe change a driver. But all these drivers work. Like everything's fine. I don't know why this tweeter just up and went. Maybe it's just a one of, and it's a poor quality tweeter. Or it could be when we played Saturday afternoon in a parade. There was a local oyster festival parade up in a small place called Tyne Valley, and we played in the parade, and we were using a generator, obviously, right, for power. And as we all know, generator has dirty power. It's not, you know, the best kind of power supply available, and maybe the speaker didn't like that. I don't know, but it's funny why only this one went and the other one did not on the other side. So could have just been because they were both plugged in the same power bar. Power bar had a surge protector on it. So I don't know. Anyway, but that's where I'm at, and this is a problem. So hopefully there are replacement parts, and I'll keep you posted on what I find out. So that's it for now. Welcome to the shed. See you later. Thank you.